Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you posers listen to. This week, the city streets run red with animal hearts. The news is banning robots. The topic is got gameplay? And our dragon is atmospheric. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another week of our separate casts.
Separate casts.
In isolation, little islands of peoples.
That's right.
Oh, man. Am I an island?
Everyone's an island unto themselves.
I hope I have palm trees. And
Do you have pears or apples or peaches?
oranges, baby.
You
Durians.
get oranges.
Mm-hmm.
I would go pomegranate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
If given the choice, definitely pomegranate.
Yeah. But can you make pomegranate juice?
Yeah.
Have you had pomegranate juice?
Yeah.
What does it taste like?
Pomegranates.
Oh, wow. Insightful.
It's like tart. It's like cranberry juice, but more tart.
Ew.
What?
Yeah, I was about to say it's like drinking a warhead. It's
Ew.
No, it's not sour. It's tart.
I don't
Yeah, I
like
know,
the way
Very
this Taste of Dragons podcast is starting. This is all sour, bitter taste.
We didn't say there would be good taste. We just said there would be taste, okay? Bring in the taste.
and it's our taste.
Don't be judgy.
Oh my gosh. Cranberry juice is good
Yeah.
by itself, but to make something more bitter than that, I don't know if I could do that.
I like to mix it with chamomile tea.
That makes you sleepy.
It does. It does.
Sleepy and bitter. Just the way I like to go drink.
That's how I like to go to sleep. Sleepy and bitter. That's how I go to bed.
Isn't that the way that Charles Dickens' Scrooge Christmas Carol starts? Wow.
No, I'm gonna let
That was
you
a
finish
journey.
it.
All I wanted to say was Scrooge, but all of that came out instead. It was a sleepy and bitter thing. What do you want from me? My mind is fuzzy. It's been 65 days, I think.
It's been a lot of time. I think it's been 4 years, actually.
How have you all been doing distancing, physically distancing and whatnots? How y'all doing with it all?
Doing pretty well.
We haven't checked in with each other. You know, we're up here talking about video games. I'm just joking. Let's just talk about video games.
Yeah.
Let's talk about video games. That's all we care about.
Yeah. Don't ruin our podcast with your life
Yeah,
talk.
I'll care about you guys when I can see you physically. So yeah, let's get into our games then.
What are you playing?
All right, this week. How about you, Amanda? What did you been playing this week?
So, as a way to distance myself from Animal Crossing, as it is an addiction we've talked about it for the last few weeks, I thought I would try a phone game. So I downloaded SimCity Build It, which I don't know when it came out.
That sounded more like a Bob the Builder thing. SimCity.
Build it. And I must have played it for like a good 20 minutes before I was like, this is dumb. Because it's like SimCity, but like every time you click a button is a mini loading screen because it's all transactional based. They want you to spend money. Everything is time gated. And I couldn't stand it. So instead of...
It's like a real city.
Right. Instead of that, I went to my PC and I bought SimCity.
You threw your money around and got what you wanted.
I did.
Just like a real city.
Did. Which was very confusing. Actually, I was looking at my phone and I was like, I would like to buy the latest version of SimCity. So I went and I booted up my Origin thing on my computer, and then I was like, SimCity, please. And then they were like, which one do you want? And there are like 6 SimCities, and kudos to Madden, because if I was going to buy Madden, it would be a really clear naming scheme. It was just like, I want Madden 2020. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Sims was like, do you want Sims 3? Do you want Sims 4? Do you want SimCity? Do you want SimCity 2000? Do you want SimCity Future version? Do you want SimCity? Didn't you just say that? Yes, we did, because we have 2 versions of them, and we don't define the difference of them. And none of the pictures are pictures of the game.
It's just pictures of buildings.
Right, and they're like modern. I think they remastered some of them.
Yeah.
So like SimCity 2013 and SimCity have very similar looking pictures in the thing. So I was like, which one is newer? Trick question. They're the same game. So I did finally figure it out.
So did you eventually get to the game?
Yes.
Like your current one?
Yes. I did buy the most recent one, or at least I think I did, and that's the same thing. And it was fun. I haven't played SimCity since maybe I was in high school, so whatever version that was. But I have played a lot of The Sims, and it was weird to play a game that makes puns that I understand, but I haven't actually played that game in a really long time.
Oh, Will Wright. You and your puns.
Right?
He knows how to write them.
Yeah.
Damn, Brian.
But the game is like systems and systems and systems with lots of maps and mini maps, and there's no people, so it's just like buildings. But somehow they made all of that really fun. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the part where I can light things on fire and put tornadoes in my town, but they have hinted that is in there. So I don't know. I played for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was fun. I genuinely do think that this game was made in like 2013 and then remastered a little later, so it's still an older game, but it held up really well, if I'm being honest. The graphics don't look too bad. It doesn't support my monitor aspect ratio, so I have to have a smaller screen.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, your monitor's too big.
It can't handle my resolution because it's a new monitor, old game. So I do have like a bar of just my desktop background, which constantly bothers me while I play. But aside from that, the game was nice.
Make your screensaver SimCity, and then you're good to go.
I was thinking of making it black, just so that it's just nondescript.
Or make it Will Wright's face. I mean, get creative.
That would be really funny. Just like him with a thumbs up on the right hand side.
I did see a thing with Will Wright recently. You know those like master classes that you get advertised to?
Yes.
With Ron Howard and stuff. Well, he's doing a new one. And in it, I watched the ad, which was like a minute long, and usually I skip them, but not Will Wright, baby. He talked about the aspect of video games and how it's so important to not take control away from the player, alluding to like movies or something that you watch someone be happy and you're happy. But games give you a sense of pride, which a movie doesn't necessarily give you by watching. And how important it is to him to not take control away from the characters. And when I was thinking back to SimCity or The Sims, you are always in control. There's no cutscene in the middle of it. There's nothing. You're always actively doing something. And I never realized that was a very like a staple of his design.
I think I have too much control in this game, actually, because the game is old. Like the area that I'm set up on is a peninsula, and there is space for 3 towns. And they clearly wanted me to play one town, and then for different real people to play the other towns. But
I remember this one now. Yeah.
The game's so old that those people don't exist.
Right.
So in order for me to build the town, I have to make 3 towns, which means I have 1 town I care about. And 2 towns I don't.
Wow.
So it's like the real world.
Just like the real city.
So it's like, this town's going to be great, but the other towns are going to send all their resources to this town, and they're just going to exist.
This is America.
I always liked SimCities. It's just I hated when it got like too pedantic, where it's like, hey, look, you got your town. Now set up the sewer system. Now set up the electricity grid. Like the older ones, that's what you had to do. And I was like, oh no.
I knew Mandy.
I just want to build cities.
I knew Mandy was in it to win it when I looked over at her screen and saw it was nothing but grids and numbers. And I was like, oh boy. That's some Sim City happening there.
Troy, did you see the 7 I got? Yeah, 7. It's a green 7 too.
Damn, girl, you got them.
7.
You got them right angles. Damn.
But lots of fun. Yeah, I like it. Oh, best part, because it's an old game, it was $9.
Nice. And we're all Go ahead.
Yeah, you got the good one, because I bought it brand new and I paid $50 for that.
Yeah. $9, and mine includes all of the expansions and add-on packs.
Nice.
So pretty good.
Nice.
And we're all living in a simulation anyway, so welcome to the real game.
All right, cool. Going next. I think I'll go next. The game I played was Hearthstone.
Oh, man, I was wrong. I was taking bets on what game I thought you would play. Last week was Path of Exiles 2. I thought you were going to play Path of Exiles 1.
We were both wrong, because I said he would play something that I'd never heard of, and I've heard of Hearthstone.
Wow.
So.
Brian, you were just full of surprises, man.
That's right. That's how I am.
Tell us about that Hearthstone.
So Hearthstone I've been playing. So in case you don't know, Hearthstone is a collectible card game, kind of like Magic, The Gathering, kind of like a bunch of the other ones. But But I don't care about that aspect of it. Last year, Hearthstone introduced a new mode called Battlegrounds, which is kind of like an auto chess, but their own version of it. And it is amazing.
What?
Yeah. And it's done, like, when I first heard it was announced, I was like, how the hell are they going to do that? Like, that doesn't have anything like, an auto chess aspect to it. But they did it. And it is so well thought out and so well done. Most of the Hearthstone streamers that I watch or that I have seen all just play Battlegrounds. They don't even play the actual game. They just play Battlegrounds.
Can you verse each other?
Yeah. So what it is there's no like private lobbies. So you can't set up. You can't like go in with your friend, or you can't do one of those things. So every single match you hit is going to be random. They're all ranked. So you get your ranking or whatever, and depending on if you win or you lose is how many points up you go. I think as long as you get 4th or higher, your rank goes up. And so you just play, and you play against 7 other random people. And
can I play against you?
You cannot. Yeah.
I was looking to see if we could add to our mobile card collecting game repertoire.
I know, right?
Because that would be awesome.
I know, right? No, at this point you cannot. I think they're thinking about adding, or not thinking. They're going to add that capability later. It's just that right now the Battlegrounds portion of it is still in beta. So right now it is just the ranked mode, just the 7 other random people that you can play against. But it's a lot of fun. Each game maybe takes, depending on how well you do, each game takes maybe 10 to 20 minutes to play. It goes by fairly quickly, and I've realized that I've got an okay aspect of how to play the game. And I realized that a lot of the way that I play the game is actually from watching other streamers play it and picking up on how they play and be like, oh, that actually is really smart to do, and then incorporating it in how I would play. So every single day this week I've played at least 2 or 3 matches. I try to play until at least I've won one. So I count winning, even though top 4 counts as winning. I count winning as top 2.
If we can do that, then I win every game of Overwatch I've ever played, ever. Yay, I'm a champion.
Only
Never
do math that
lose.
makes you happy.
So I've been playing that. So normally it takes me 2 or 3 games in order to get top 2. And then I'm like, all right, I'm done for the day. And I put it aside and I go back to playing Path of Exile. But I've been playing a lot of it, and it's a lot of fun. If you haven't played it, it's completely free to do. They have some extra like microtransactions, or not microtransactions. Like you can buy like a battle pass, so that way it gives you perks in the game. So I think it's like $20. And so normally the character that you get is a hero, and each hero has a specific hero power. So at the beginning of the game, they give you a choice of 2. But if you buy the perk for $20, you get a choice of 4. So it helps you, maybe get a better hero that you want to play with. So there's that, and it gives you like stats on how well you did, and how well other people do with the same type of thing or the same type of setup. So it gives you more stats and more breakdown of how to do it.
When I played Hearthstone, it overtook my life for like 3 months. It's all I could do.
Yeah.
So the idea they've added a mode that I really do enjoy in other games does make me want to check back in. Is it free to play?
Yes, completely free to play. Like I said, the only part that costs money is if you want more of a choice of heroes and if you want stats afterwards. For me, I find it more limiting, which is actually good for me because it's like, you know what? I want to be, just one of 2, see how well I can do in the confines of this. So
I'm going to check that out, Brian.
You should. It's really good. Really, really good. So yeah, that's me. Hearthstone Battlegrounds. And what about you, Joe? What did you play this week?
I swear, I promise, I will play something other than Animal Crossing soon.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
But today's not that day?
Today's not that day. It's not that day at all. I finally was able to purchase one of the haunted paintings from Red. I was very excited about it.
Wait. You went right there. I wasn't prepared for this. You got to tell me about these haunted paintings now that you've mentioned it.
Okay,
What's the deal?
Nobody
What
really
is
knows
up?
if it's on if it's on purpose or if it's just kind of like not even a glitch, but just like a weird thing that's programmed in or not really programmed in. But apparently there are about 4 or 5 paintings you can purchase from Red that at certain points in time of the day, the painting will either look a different way, it will flip entirely, it will, it's weird. It's real weird, and it's super cool.
Spooky.
So, but I was finally able, one of my friends had Red in their island, and they did not buy the haunted painting. So I was able to come over and buy the haunted painting that day.
Do you have a lot of like
haunted painting?
museum quality paintings?
What?
What was that?
Do you have a lot of the museum quality paintings, the ones that aren't fake?
No, I have, I actually think I have 4 paintings. I have 3 or 4 because I have the one that he gives you to begin with.
Yeah.
I was able to buy another one the very next time I saw him, which was real, and then I got lucky and unlucky all at the same time. So one of my friends had him. Actually, it might have even been your town, Troy. I can't remember. I literally bought it thinking it was a fake one just because I wanted the piece of art in my house.
Yeah.
And then when I got it the next day, I brought it over to Blathers to hear him say, "Oh, it's fake." And he was like, "Sure, I'll take this and I'll let you know when I put it up." Like, what do you do with my art, man? I didn't even check to see if that was real because I was told they were all fake. What are you doing, bro? Come back with my stuff.
What's funny about that is that the one that I got was also real. So there were
Nice.
multiple reels that he brought. Red's is a upstanding citizen these days, at least on my island.
That's horribly unfair that you had 2 reels, and the 2 times he's been to my island, all of them have been fake.
Same
Yeah,
with
Brian's
me.
got the same.
Yep.
All of them were fake.
I've only had him once, and they were all fake.
How long is
yeah,
it going to
that's
take me to
been-
fill up my museum?
I think the key to this part of the game with Red coming and selling us these fake art pieces is to connect more. I don't think I've tried hard enough to like, I guess,
But he's
go
only
over to
got
people's towns.
4.
That's the thing. It's like I always feel bad. There's only 4 pieces, and once it's gone, it's gone.
And-
so if I see like one of my friends have it, I'm like, no, let other people go get this.
And
painting.
sometimes only one of them's real.
Yeah.
So like the odds of him having 2 real ones in one batch is like real low. So it's like
Right.
you're just going to invite one more person over.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, I think I'm also more annoyed that the furniture he hasn't been really super cool either. It's just been stuff we could already get in the game. And I was like, man, he used to have like, it was expensive. It was always something dumb that was like really cheap in the game, but it was expensive if you bought it from him. And then he normally had something that was really hard to find.
Yeah.
Like just super cool and like you would never find whatever this is anywhere else. Like, oh man, I got another TV tray. Thanks, man. I didn't need another TV, a vintage TV tray. Woo, so. But yeah, that's my life now. Animal Crossing. This is what I do. I do have, however, about 24 green mums now, and I am like
Ooh.
living
Joe.
that sweet green mum life.
Joe, I mentioned earlier on this podcast on a previous episode that your island is like you're like a mad scientist of flowers. There's just like concoctions and combinations everywhere. I went to your island last night. Yo, you're designing stuff now. The science is becoming a science.
It's getting there. I've figured out a couple things with the ratio of having certain things next to other things and how a lot of the time it's just 1 and 1. They tell you don't even worry about there being like no. I have found that you know what, with purple hyacinths, if I put 6 purple hyacinths and 1 blue hyacinth, I will end up with another 4 of them the next day
Weird.
of purple only. It's so cool. But it's just becoming I'm just seeing how math-wise it works out. It's pretty great.
But
Ended up with
your
about 4 or
island
5
is getting
blue
like
roses.
its own design now. Like you started putting paths and like hedges and like the flowers are now in a like an intentional design or like an aesthetic
Yes.
is what I mean. It's always intentional.
Yes.
But like an aesthetic
yes.
design, it's very nice. Your little green mums look like tiny bamboo
Aw.
trees and they're surrounded
Yeah,
by
they're super
bamboos. It's great. It's great. You're doing great.
Thank you. I don't really path anything out, so it was very awkward for me to put down paths. And then when I saw that if you put stone paths down, they don't grow, and I was like, I could just do this dark dirt stuff. I don't want to not have my stuff growing, so I have a few regular pathways where nothing can grow, and it really weirds me out. Like it's so I have to change it to dirt paths. I can't.
Sometimes
Always
it's
be
good.
grown.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes you want like, oh no, I have 40 of these and I don't want any more, and then you'll surround them and be like, that's it. You stay.
I hope I get there. I've sold like 5 pocketfuls of red and white and yellow mums at this point. Like I full pockets. I walk over there and he's
man.
like, the Tommy and Timmy, they'll give you like nothing for them, but I just needed to get them away from me so I would stop piling them up everywhere.
Pocket full of
The
mums.
whole back part of my island is bad. It's brutal.
Pocket full of mums sounds like my favorite 60s folk song.
I was thinking like a nursery rhyme.
Oh, okay. Maybe more like a 60s hippie song or something. Yeah. Got my pocket full of mums. British hippie.
Pocket full of moms.
Pocket full of mums. And mum's
We're a
the
music
word.
podcast now. Yeah.
So yes, this is the Mad Scientist of Flowers is continuing. I have haunted paintings. It's been a good week. It's been a good week in Animal Crossing. I promise next week I will. I tried this week so bad. I tried. I really did. I even tried to open Dr. Mario to see if that would kind of quell the want. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I tried playing a game called Dear Reader. I literally played that game for 3 minutes, and I looked over at Animal Crossing and I was like,
What am I doing?
I can't do this. I'm just gonna go fish. It's terrible. This game has my life now.
Be true to yourself. As you know, do what you do.
Yeah.
I can't stop playing it either. It's just a normal part of my life. It has made me play Overwatch less. So there's that. Right? Is that
That's weird.
Is that like subbing cocaine for meth? And being like, well, I don't do cocaine anymore.
I think it's like substituting coffee for tea, but yeah.
I've done that in my life as well.
What, meth?
All right, cool. And then rounding us up, you got Troy.
All right, y'all. Guess what I got for y'all this week? I got
What's
a
that?
new release. Ooh. That's right. Streets of Rage 4, the 90s style side-scrolling beat-em-up, hit the digital shops last week. And I was not sure if I was going to get it, but a few of my friends started hopping on, and I was like, if I'm ever going to play this game, it's got to be with friends, so I've got to get on this. So Streets of Rage has a little special place in my gaming history because it is a Sega game.
Sega.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. We have to say it like that.
We do.
Contractually. Because I grew up as a Nintendo kid, and when you grow up as a Nintendo kid, Sega's the demon lord that we shall not name.
Those other people.
Yeah, the Sega kids.
No, I loved my Sega.
Oh,
I loved both. No, they were a demon. Sonic was cool.
well,
I had a Sega.
hey, I'm not saying you can't love them. You just love demons. That's all. I mean, that's I'm not
Okay, I'm
not
alright with
gonna
that.
hate
Yeah,
you.
it was a black system comparatively,
Uh-huh.
so I mean, like it
It
was
was
dark,
very
like the
dark.
devil, you know.
It's also established
cool.
that Joe loves yokai, which are demons. So
See,
That's
Fair
fair.
enough.
prove my point.
canon.
But
Oh man,
grow
I felt that to my core.
directly to the core. But growing up, there was definitely a little hole in my core because I would hear people, my friends at school, talk about these awesome Sega games that I never could play. Sonic and I don't know, some other Sega game. Name a Sega game. Anybody?
Oh, I didn't have
Sonic
a Sega. You're
Spinball.
asking both
That
of the
one.
Nintendo
Echo the
people.
Dolphin.
That one. Yes,
was
Echo. And the other one was Streets of Rage. So when the Wii Shop, that's right, the Wii with the nunchucks, came out with this thing called the Virtual Console.
Ooh.
And they had NES games and Super Nintendo games. And then one day they were like, and now you can play Sega games. I lost my mind. Oh my gosh. I bought every game that my childhood self always wanted but could never get. And just binged on like Sega games, all the Sonics and all that stuff. And one of them was Streets of Rage 2. And I played that game a bunch. I'm probably in my early 20s at this point. But I literally feel like a 6-year-old. So I love those type of games. The classic beat 'em up, pick up a turkey to replenish your health, all that stuff. Classic arcade feel. So this game dropped and they kind of revamped a lot of things about it, most notably about Streets of Rage 4, which is 25 years after Streets of Rage 3. That's the last time they made a Streets of Rage game.
Ouch.
With those 25 years, yeah, feel it, Brian. 25 years.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, that's right. With those 25 years, they've added better graphics. Surprise.
Good for them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope so.
yeah. It looks real crisp, has a nice animated look to it, kind of like an anime.
It's very stylized. It's very pretty.
Super stylized in look and sound. And they also they didn't really add too much difference to the combat or anything, but you don't really want that when it comes to this game. It just feels good. It's just, this whole thing is just so good, and that's all you really wanted. When I picked up this game, I was like, I'm not even going to play this until I have someone to jump in with. Like, I bought it, and I told my friend Josh, I was like, hey, I'm not getting on until you get on, because otherwise there's no point. Like, I'm not going to play this co-op beat 'em up game without you. And we got on, and it was just to kind of test things out. We beat the game.
Oh, wow.
We could not stop. It is fun by yourself, sure, but it is amazing with a friend.
What system did you get it for?
What system? Oh,
Yeah.
it's right. I was like, not Sega. We played on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Take that, Sega.
Just rubbing it in. Just rubbing it in. You bought them on the Wii. Now you bought them on the Switch. You're proving a point.
But yeah, it's super fun and super cool. Some little things that they add to this version that I think were really novel. They add a retro mode, so you can change the graphics to make it look like it's in the 90s still. Even down to there's an option to put CRT scans, so it's like you're on an old TV playing it, which is nice. The music is really good. You're using the soundtrack from Yuzo Koshiro, who is just this is his jam, making those techno 8-beat music clips. And they kind of give them the glow up. So there's some sax, some bass, some real instruments, some synthetic instruments as well.
So like Synth Plus.
It's like Synth Plus, yeah. And they also added a level up system, which is a very modern thing to do. But instead of like making your characters more powerful, instead you get to unlock more characters to replay the game with. And you even can unlock the original versions of the characters. So you can have, like, Axel is one of the main characters. He's just, dude with blonde hair. And he's old in this game. He's got a beard. So you can unlock his, like, 8-bit version from the original game to play in this version.
So you can get, like, Axel with jacket, Axel without jacket.
You can get, Axel from Streets of Rage 1, Axel from Streets of Rage 2. And, like, so, yeah. and they come with all of their original moves. Which is kind of darling. So I feel like for me, I really got into Streets of Rage 2. I didn't play like the whole franchise, but even that was enough for me when I played this game to still get that little feeling of like nostalgia with the music and the look and the feel. And I think a lot of us around this age grew up in arcades playing beat 'em ups, whether it was Ninja Turtles or Final Fight or whatever, or X-Men. That just having a very simple go from left to right a screen punching fools is like comfort food.
Hell, The Simpsons had one.
Yes, the Simpsons game. Yeah, so it was great. I will definitely go back to it and munch a little bit more over the next couple of weeks. But man, you want a feel good game to just kind of go in some not so feel good times. This could be the jam for you. So
nice.
Shout out to Sega. I'll give them that. Yeah. They made a good game. And shout out to Josh throwing down bows with me against Mr. X and the Y Twins. So right on.
All right, awesome. All right, that'll do it for our games, and that brings us to our news segment.
News.
So this week we're gonna start with Robocop, a name you probably haven't heard in a while.
Since I was playing Streets of Rage.
Yeah, he is coming to Mortal Kombat 11 on May 26th. They announced that there's a new expansion called Afterlife. That's going to be $40, and it continues the game's story and adds more fighters like Shiva, Fujin, and MF and Robocop.
So I buy all these Mortal Kombat games, and afterwards they put out the character DLC packs. I never buy them because really, because I'm not that deep into the game that if I bought them, it would I would be buying them just to see all the cool moves and their like fatalities, and then I'd move on. So I can literally just get that on YouTube, like instantly, and so I never buy the characters, but they're adding story to the content, which is the main reason why I even buy these games, because I love their dumb, stupid Mortal Kombat story. So dumb. I love it. And the fact that they're adding to it, I'm finally kind of interested in maybe now getting back into Mortal Kombat, getting all the characters to like see how they interact in this story. So Robocop or no Robocop, I'm back. I may be back in. Also, the idea of putting Robocop against Terminator sounds amazing.
Right? Do you think Robocop's going to spell his name with a K? It's gonna be Robo with a cop.
Is that why
K.
is that why he's here? Is that why they're fighting him? Is because he's brought a C into Mortal Kombat?
Will
They're like, what is this dark magic?
Gosh, that's the whole story.
This curvy letter.
Is them going back in time to try and remake Robocop but with a K and not a C in the title. Come on, Johnny.
I would watch / play that all day.
Peter Weller. Wait, no, that's not Peter Weller, is it?
No.
RoboCop? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, it is
yeah.
Peter Weller. Okay, cool.
All right, so then on to our next bit of news, which is a person who role plays a doctor in who helps out players in Fallout 76. So he's actually inside the game. He plays a doctor, and anybody who needs help, he helps them. Unfortunately, his real life house burned down. So a bunch of players found out about it, and so they spread his GoFundMe and around the Reddits and the YouTubes and all that stuff, and they've raised over $6,500 for the person.
Wow. That's
So
like a
good for
down
them.
payment on a new house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, misstep. They should have gotten him to 76,000. Just saying. If you're gonna do it,
So far,
do it right.
that's right. So good for them. Sad for the gentleman that it happened to, but
Yeah.
thankfully there's a little bit of good out there
It's
that people are rallying around.
Always inspiring to see a gaming community come together.
That's right.
See,
That's
AJ,
right.
there was a positive thing that we said about Fallout 76.
That's right. Boom.
We're talking to AJ, our fact checker. He checks our facts. That's
does.
for you,
He
bud.
does. You're welcome. And then our next bit of news has got some cyberpunkiness to it, right, Manda?
Yes, I'm actually very excited as they were giving us some details about the Cyberpunk customization. I really like playing female characters in games, and I was like, I want to know more about what I can look like. I was very surprised. The news highlighted very specifically that in Cyberpunk you have complete control of your character's breast size, genital size, and butt size, regardless of gender. Is instead of having like binary gender choices, they're just going to let you customize those areas until you feel like you are the combination.
You can
that
mix
suits
match.
you. Yes.
Mix
That's
and
right.
match it all.
It's the future. You can be whatever you want. Like,
Yes.
Can you imagine those meetings that they had, like specifically for all this? I bet they were remarkable.
I'm at an absolute loss about how to feel, because on one side, like I'm not a fan of games that have like unrealistic female proportions. Like I don't mind customization, but I would prefer that if they fit within the constructs of human beings. So I feel like this is going to lean too far in that direction. But then, like, on the other side, if they use it as commentary because they're androids and then they actually have the ability to do those customizations, then, like, somehow I'm okay. But then, like, there's the other side that's, like, gender inclusion, which I also am okay with. But then, like, is this a mockery of gender inclusion by allowing you to just do whatever you want whenever you feel like it? So I literally have... I have so many feelings I can't feel anything about it.
Yeah, I feel positive about it. I think because I feel like they definitely thought about what are the pros and cons of including this, and it hasn't been included in a game at all. So
The Sims does this.
Oh, you can be like you can have both lady and female parts at the same time.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. That's fantastic. So I guess like Sims aside, in like a narrative adventure, so to speak, to add this, I think could be very interesting, and I want it to be used like honestly and well. I do think it can go to a creepy place where you just have the dudes that are just making the breast sides big and the butts big and then going about it in that way. That's also a commentary on people, I guess. So I think the idea of like, hey, we're going to put this in your hands. What it is going to be is up to you. So I think it could be cool.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do also. It makes me wonder how they're going to handle the way that characters speak to you. I wonder if there's going to be a customizable, or one of the questions they ask you is, are you a he, or do you want to be referred to as he, she, them, Zed, whatever you want to be referred to. And I wonder if that's going to reflect in dialogue. Like characters are going to call you whatever they want to call, whatever you said for them to call you.
This is not my attempt to bring everything back to Dragon Age, but in Dragon Age, you can play as a male or female character, and they never refer to you by a pronoun. They just wrote the dialogue in such a way that it's not necessarily relevant.
So
they call you
so it just makes me
Sarah,
wonder.
which is like non-gender conforming. So I imagine they'll do something like that. You'll have a last name that's
use your name.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Or whatever, you're the rookie or whatever the heck they want.
Yeah. World Ender, come here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do hope that it's a deal, but it doesn't become like the focus where like this game is just about butts and boobs. And that's where, like, I hope that people see that there's more to it than just your parts.
Unless they do that, and then it's about that. Because they definitely hinted that the society that this is built in is one where you can interchange pieces of yourself. Where, like, I don't like my face, so I'm going to take it off and replace it with a different face. So if they do it as a commentary for, like, synthetic things and our drive to continue to improve ourselves past what is natural, I think that would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, and actually, if the narrative is that you can do that, then it would also almost make less sense if they omitted
right which is why I can't decide how to feel about this.
I think artistically in that realm it's actually the only choice, really, because if I can switch around my face but I can't switch around my butt, then then what are you trying to say, game?
Yeah
All right,
what's the point? All right, so then our last bit of news is a little weird. It's a 9-year-old Brazilian Fortnite player has been banned for 4 years competitively. So the ban is for is because he entered paid tournaments. And not only did he enter, he actually placed in tournaments.
Yes.
But unfortunately, or, completely realistically, in the guidelines, it states that you have to be at least 13 years of age in order to participate.
Oh, this is the cutest ban ever.
Oh, so they just banned him till he's of age? That's actually really
correct. So he's banned until the day he turns 13.
Somebody make a movie about this kid right now.
But the thing is, like, on Fortnite's or on Epic's side, I completely get it, because you can't really give out prize money to an underage, under 13 years of old. Age.
You probably shouldn't do it at 13 either.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you can do it at 13, why can't you do it at 9 with parental permission?
Because someone had a meeting and that they had to draw the line somewhere, I guess. Probably.
I actually do I feel the same way about it. I feel like if you can give it to them if they're a child at 13, why can't they? They should be able to have it at 9.
I agree.
As long as your parents say it's okay for you to have that money.
I think there's certain laws involved with this, and also especially
Probably.
because this is a worldwide game and this player is in Brazil. Worldwide international laws are also what they are. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure that also has something to play into it.
Sure.
It just makes me wonder, when he does become of age, 13, is this game still even going to exist? Is the world still going to exist? Is the world just going to be a real life Fortnite at that point? What is?
You take that back right now, Brian. Don't put that out there.
Whoa! That
Into
means
the
Travis
ether.
Scott is going to have his concert like that.
Oh, it was so scary, but cool.
But it is interesting how they did it and how they went about it. But I also don't know if there is a right or wrong way to go about it the way that it is. So, it is what it is for me. I don't know if any of you guys have any other commentary on it.
I think it's cool. That kid's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a 9-year-old and he beat a bunch of people. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
More power to him.
Yeah.
I think he should try again. I think he should make a fake name, like a fake account, and just try to
Steal
find
a
his way.
13-year-old's ID.
Yeah. It's actually, he's just going to say he's his dad, So yeah, that'll do it for the news. But now that brings us to our sports ball segment with wait, has anybody seen Hunter? Anybody seen him today?
Troy, weren't you supposed to call him?
No, not me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I can't call him. I don't have his number.
Oh, no. He just shows up. I don't think he has a number.
I mean, I thought he was your friend. You know him, right?
Wait. My friend? I thought he was all of our friends.
Oh, I've never met him before.
What?
I don't like him.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's explained that you're his
he just
best.
kicks down the door.
I think he's your best friend, Brian. I think that you are his
Is
first.
Hunter Trip Tanner missing?
Oh no!
Oh man.
Oh no! He's missing. Sports took him. I knew this day would come. We don't know where Hunter Trip Tanner is. We'll let you know if he shows back up. Maybe he's on cocaine.
Wow, you're on a
or
thing this week.
tea and coffee.
Thank you.
All right, so now that brings us to our best segment, though, which is Pocket Full of Mums. I mean,
Pocket full of mums.
Pocket full of mums.
Pocket full of mums. Mum's the word.
Mum's the word. But no, we're going to go to Turn Up For What with Joe.
Turn it for what?
Happy May Day to all the Islanders out there. This past week brought us fun in the sun, a tactical maze, a bit of rain, and some spooky occurrences. Ooh. Jolly Red's treasure trawler anchored on multiple island docks this week, leaving many customers noticing the artwork they purchased may be looking at them sideways. Red himself was unavailable for comments, but local shop owners of the world-renowned Nook's Cranny stated, quote, "The paintings are spooky and haunted. Haunted." On May 1st, Mr. Tom Nook himself gave away a surprise vacation to a mystery island with a surprising end. A maze awaited the sharp and savvy tacticians. Those that proved their mettle and made it through all the blocked passageways were handsomely rewarded with bells and a special gift from Rover. Eventide Island held their own May Day celebration in the form of a musical chairs competition. Competitors had to traverse running, rolling, sitting, and of course pitfalls to be the last Islander sitting. The victor that scored a cool 170,000 bells was Fanula, hailing from Bree. And now on to the turnips. This week's turnip market, as reported by the Sow Jones. Purchasing averaged at 92 bells in both the North and South Hemisphere, with sales ranging anywhere between 42 and as high as 591. Multiple sources are expecting the turnip market to lose some steam later in the week, as residents of islands are spending more time outside on rainy days trying to catch rare fish. And that's it for now. This is Joe from Katsusando, signing off and reminding you to look up for the shooting stars, watch your step to avoid pitfalls, and always, always save your rusted parts. Back to you, Dragons.
Turnip for what? And in case anyone was wondering, yes, that was all Animal Crossing news from this week.
Yeah. So that'll do it for our news. And now it brings us to our Mighty Morsel Tasty topic.
All right. Mighty Morsel is our tiny tasty topic. We're going to talk about the reveal that Xbox had today, as of this recording, which was last Thursday for you listening to this, or whatever Thursday, many Thursdays ago. I don't know. It was a Thursday. They called it the 7th of May. So Xbox decided to actually show what in-game footage of what their new Xbox console can do by releasing a lot of new world premieres, pretty much. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. There was no Halo. I don't want anybody to get their hopes up. But if you haven't watched it yet and you're like, it's going to be the Halo. No Halo, just don't worry about it.
No Fable either.
No, there's no Fable. Sorry.
Nope.
The one or two of you, 5 of you,
What?
6 of you, 7?
It's everyone but you.
Yeah, there's no Fable either. But there was a lot of game footage, which was really interesting. So basically, it was mostly trailers, which was interesting. And there was a little bit of confusion over what they were going to show. It was definitely going to be things that were powered by the Series X engine. But there was a little confusion as to whether this was in-game footage or gameplay or cutscenes or what.
It was frustrating because those used to mean the same thing.
Oh, right.
It's like, oh, we're going to have to show you some in-game footage. And I was like, oh, awesome. They're going to have gameplay. And then I went to watch it and I was like, these are all trailers. I thought they were going to go, oh, you just meant this is what it's going to look like when you play it. But not like when I'm playing it, just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
as long as the disc is in.
It all goes back to the PlayStation 3 when they debuted Killzone and showed this amazing trailer, and everyone was like, the future is here. And then you come to find out that looked nothing like what the actual game was. It was just them pouring money into a CGI team.
Oh.
And so now we have things like this, which is like, this is in-game and some gameplay, but doesn't mean just gameplay, maybe a little gameplay, but it all is in-game. But you get in-game cutscenes that look like they're cinematic cutscenes. But all that to say, what you saw today, or what you saw when you watched this, were things that you could actually see on the Xbox. They're not made up or different. They may look different when they come out, but that's what the power is going to be of the new Xbox.
I was a little disappointed, if I'm being honest.
Why so?
The games looked fine, but like for them to have hyped up like this is what it's going to look like, it looked like good, but not like infinitely better.
To be honest, most of it looked like current generation games with like a little better lighting, or sometimes not better lighting, just the same, or some weather effects.
That's almost part of the problem, though, with games nowadays. Everything looks really good. How much further can you get? It already looks amazing.
Some of it was a little weird, though. They showed a little bit of this game, Vampire the Masquerade, which is Bloodlines 2.
Yeah.
And while the premise of it is really kind of fun, it's like a vampire RPG. Watching it looked like a step back from the current generation. The character models were really kind of stilted. Their facial animations were kind of blank. The premise was cool. The game looks like it's a good idea and fun. But like, I wasn't seeing like the power of the next generation in any way on it.
I think that's why this confuses me, because like if they didn't have a game that was just like well and beyond the current gen, and maybe that's because we've really reached the pinnacle of like how well we can do graphics wise. Like, why hold an event that is centered around the idea of like, look at the graphics?
Well, I think
confusing.
I think certain games that they did show did impress me graphically and technically wise. They showed a game called Bright Memory, which is a new IP, and it's a first person. It looks like you're jumping on walls, you're doing magic, you're shooting, you jump into a DeLorean at one point. All of that looked really fluid. The environment looked very dynamic. It was like anytime you want to show off how good your system is, you make it rain and thunder.
Yeah.
And they did, and it looked great. The glow of the water was cool.
Yeah, what's funny with Bright Memory is that like you said, it's probably one of the best looking ones that they had today, or when they showed it. But that's a one-man studio. It's one person who did that.
It's a single developer.
And it's also built off of a early access game that's been on Steam for I think 2 or 3 years called Bright Memory. So this is, I think, a continuation of it, because it's Bright Memory, and I forget what the tagline is.
Infinite. Bright Memory Infinite.
Yeah, there we go.
So
this is just a built off of that, but even then, this is your best looking game is a one-man studio.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to showcase is like, hey, this is what one person can do with this system. Can you imagine what the big studios can do with all of their money and resources?
Yeah.
So I think that's why they chose to actually open the entire event with that trailer. And it looked good. Like, I don't know what that is, but I am interested.
I think I was bummed because I saw the Assassin's Creed like location release, and then I saw the trailer, and then they're like, and next you're gonna see gameplay, and I was like, that's great, like bam bam bam, and I'm gonna see what the game is actually gonna look like. And then it was just another trailer, and I was like, all right, gameplay. Not gameplay.
It was like 90% in-game trailer and like 10% actual gameplay.
There's no gameplay in it.
Yeah.
It was like they showed some fighting, they showed some talking, but I'm saying I'm with you.
Yeah.
You had to really squint to see the moments where you think you are in control, unless that is you in control. I don't know.
Also, show us Lady Viking, damn it.
I think they'll hold out on that. But to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the new Assassin's Creed, they didn't. Yeah, as Mandy said, that you could see that there was a little bit more overhaul of the combat. But the main thing that they kind of talked about in the little breakdown afterwards was that the loading times would be quicker. They didn't really give you too much new information that we didn't already know previously. And they didn't really go into it. So on the Assassin's Creed front, you really didn't get that much from this event. But there are a few highlights that I have real quick that I think you did. Dirt 5, which is the off-road racing game, which will, and every time you want to debut a new system, you got to show some cars, because you gotta. That's how you know it's a new generation. That car looks good. That car looks real. Next generation, that car looks real. It's just how we operate. But what's cool about this is, yeah, sure, technically it's running in 4K, 60 frames, 120 hertz, all that good stuff. But there's going to be fewer load times.
Yeah.
They're adding a significant story elements. They're going to have Troy Baker be like your mentor in like a new story element of the game. And your antagonist is going to be Nolan North.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Forget the power of the Xbox. If the power of the Xbox is to give Troy Baker and Nolan North more work where they're pitted against each other, I'm in. There was a fun game called The Medium, which is kind of a creepy, scary game. This pregnant lady dies in like the real world, and you go into like a spiritual world and you see how she's dealing with it. It's all a game apparently to start handling PTSD. It just kind of sounds like Psychonauts, but with like blood. So I think there may be something really cool there. The great composer Akira Yamaoka of Silent Hill fame will be working on the music for that. And also, peep this, no load screens. Yeah. Madden was more Madden. They talked about load screens again. They talked about that a bunch. I'm starting to think that this new generation is just them being like, yeah, but those load screens.
Which would make sense that they kind of reached where they wanted to graphically, and now they're just making like hardware improvements, but you can't show people hardware improvements. So I think that's why this is weird. Is like, we promise it's better. We promise. It's better.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't show you it's
Right.
better, but it's going to be better.
And as you said, Mandy, if they do get rid of load screens, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
If you're just constantly kind of immersed in the game and you're not checking your phone to like bring you out of it, or checking your turnips, well, then that could be really worthwhile. The final thing of interest that they kind of went into during this event was the smart delivery system, which is pretty simple, pretty much. This is going to be games that are coming out when the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X are both on the market. And so to kind of keep people from being afraid of buying two games for both systems or two systems for the same game, and so it's not messy, they're introducing the smart delivery system, which means if you buy this game for Xbox One and then you buy the Xbox Series X, you upgrade, you do not have to repurchase that game. You will automatically get the update, the glow up, the new graphics, everything that you would get for the Xbox Series X without having to repurchase it, which is smart.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So hopefully PlayStation sees that and goes, well, we have to do it now. Because I don't want to buy a game twice. I don't want to buy games twice. Yeah. And that pretty much, I mean, there's other things. Go check out the whole thing. It's about a half an hour. There's definitely some other games in there of interest, but those are kind of the stuff that jumped out to us.
Yeah. And then also the new Yakuza game is going to be a launch title for Series X.
Oh, right. I always forget about Yakuza. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It's Yakuza.
Okay.
It's Yakuza. Yakuza to me is like Madden a lot of times with like crazy gangster stories.
Yeah, it looks like Yakuza, but with superpowers. It's really weird.
They always had superpowers.
I know.
Those dudes, they're superhuman. Anyway,
Yeah.
new Yakuza, that'll be a launch title. And Black Flag sounds. I'm not Black Flag. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will probably also be.
Boats.
Yeah, agreed. So,
But that's your Mighty Morsel Tasty Topic. Take it away.
Mighty Morsel Tasty Topic. All right, and now, all right. So, good Mighty Morsel Tasty Topic. Now that brings us to our Dragon of the Week.
Do. It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so sweet. It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so sweet. Dragon of the Week. I said it's so tweet. Whatever. I run out of rhymes. It doesn't have to make sense. Whatever. It's going to make sounds after a while. Oh, it's so... Dragon of the Week is our chance to shine a little light on the industry. Talk about developers, talk about musicians, talk about writers. Just kind of learn a thing or two about the industry that... we spend so much of our recent time in and even our older time in, so
Give back to that virtual world.
And this week we got Brian, who's gonna tell us something about our current Dragon of the Week. Who is our current Dragon of the Week?
That's right. So this week's Dragon of the Week is going to be, by me. And you might have heard the Dragon of the Week a little bit earlier in this broadcast, which is Akira Yamaoka, who is a composer and sound director of the Silent Hill games and current sound director of Grasshopper Manufacture.
No way. Are you telling me that I said the Dragon of the Week and didn't even know it?
That's right. You did.
Whoa. Not planned, y'all. Not planned. That was organic. Damn.
It was pretty funny. I heard you say it. I was like, oh, all right. Nicely done.
I hope I said your name correctly, sir. I apologize.
You did.
Yes.
So Mr. Yamaoka was born in 1968 in Nagata, Japan, and he was always heavily into music. He particularly liked 80s British music with the synthesizer sounds and German music as well. And it was basically punk rock all the way. He was even in a punk rock band while in school. And he goes to college. So he goes to Tokyo Art College, and he goes to, guess what? Guess what it is? Guess what he goes for?
What what his major is?
Yeah. What do you think
is he major in punk rock?
Pottery?
Interior design.
You know what?
Ooh, punk pottery. I am down for punk pottery.
You know what's really hilarious? Joe actually guessed it. Product and interior design.
Nicely done, Joe.
Nailed it.
Is everything like denim and torn t-shirts and stuff?
Yeah. But while he was at college, he bought a computer and started learning sequencing, and he started making music on his own. And so after college, he became a musician in other medias and fields before finally landing in Konami in September of 1993. And so the first game he was to compose for was Sparkster for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. And so coming from, a place where you could pretty much do anything to designing for a Super Nintendo or Genesis was a little bit limiting by the hardware. So he had to
I'd say so.
So he had to go through many trials and errors to see how it would all work on it. So he finally gets through that. And so his first major game that he worked on, though, was Road Rage on the PlayStation.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was a port from an arcade game. So while the original arcade game already had music, Yamaoka felt like it was completely wrong. He thought it sounded like music you would play on the radio while you were on a date.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a road rage. You get a motorcycle and a chain, it can hit people.
Yeah. And so he completely hated it. So he changed the entire soundtrack to be more techno and rave-like. And he didn't use any of the original songs. Nothing. He just was like, no, hated it, done. So, and now at this point, I like to point out, so this is the 90s, mid-90s. I like to point out some of his musical influences that he had both at that time and also currently right now.
Okay.
He loves the sounds of Trent Reznor, which is of Nine Inch Nails and more recently Watchmen fame. Right, and also and Angelo Badalamenti of Twin Peaks and David Lynch fame. So with that in mind, let's go forward.
Twin Peaks. That's some creepy music.
Oh yeah, David Lynch, creepy music.
Very stylish, very ambient, very unnerving. Unnerving is the word.
Oh yeah. So he was selected to do the music for the Silent Hill very, very professionally. How, you might ask? He was the first to raise his hand when it was asked.
Oh my gosh! All those years they were training us.
Because he felt like he was the only one out of everybody in that studio or everybody who they asked. He felt like he was the only one who could actually do it.
Right.
So much so that he did all of the sounds that you hear in Silent Hill, with the exception of the voices.
Wow.
He did everything.
Wow.
Normally you would have like a team of people, you'd have like 7 or 8 people doing everything. Nope. He did all of it. And so he wanted to differentiate it with all the other horror games out at the time. So all your Resident Evils, your Parasite Eves, all that other jazz. So he decided to make all the music industrial. And it wasn't just to make it different for different sake. He thought it fit perfectly for what they were doing with the game's direction and atmosphere. And it turned out he was right.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And you might think that with all the melancholy and sadness that comes with the mood of the music that he writes, that he would have to get into the headspace to write it, get real nice and down in there. But actually, he makes sure that he's happy while writing the music, because as if you find yourself in sadness if you find yourself sad while writing sad music, he thinks that it all becomes one note and all the same. So
which by itself is kind of sad.
Yeah. So he likes to find balance in his music. So he feels like if you're writing sad music, you should be happy writing it. And if you write happy music, not that you should be sad, but, not like be all, holly jolly about it.
That also makes him sound like a supervillain, is that making sad music makes him happy.
So Silent Hill comes out and the game is a success and people love his soundtrack for it. And so then it comes to Silent Hill 2, and he thinks he's got to ramp it up with what it is. So like the first one, he does everything sound-wise with the music. And so he, like I said, he cranks it up. So he actually ends up creating over 200 individual footsteps that you can hear in the game.
Oh my gosh.
Individual footsteps. So, footsteps when you're outside and footsteps are when you're on metal. But not only that, but he creates variations on every single one of those footsteps as well. So you don't, so it doesn't become melodic when you hear footsteps.
Wow.
So that's crazy.
So he's doing the soundtrack and like the sound
art,
effects.
Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he does everything. Again, does everything that you hear with the exception of the actors' voices. And so, as most people would know, Silent Hill goes on to become one of the best, if not the best horror game of all time, many of which also give the soundtrack the same accolades. And so he continues making the soundtracks for all the other Silent Hill games. And in between these, he makes music for other games for Konami as well. And you guys want to guess what games haunting music like that he would make would fit right in with?
Silent Hill 2.
You already said that.
Silent Hill 3.
Anything but Silent Hills. What do you guys think would fit with?
A Resident Evil type? Maybe one of the Resident Evils, maybe?
That's right. You guessed it. Yes. Dance Dance Revolution and the ladies wrestling game Rumble Roses.
He's our tie-in to Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah. He's not just a one-trick pony. He does it all.
Right on.
So in 2009, though, unfortunately, he parted ways with Konami, and Suda51 heard about it and completely recruited him.
No.
Yeah.
Go on.
And he was actually fine with it because he loves Suda51's games. Like No More Heroes, he actually considers his favorite game of all time.
Wow. And that music is rad. So wait, he came on after No More Heroes?
Yes, he came on after No More Heroes, and so the first game I think he did for them was No More Heroes 2.
Right. I feel like that's all Suda's really been doing.
Yeah, right? So he ends up doing the music for No More Heroes 2, Lollipop Chainsaw, and then he even goes back and does some music for Silent Hill Book of Memories game.
Okay, back to the roots.
And then also he's done the music, I'll point out that he also did the music for both the Silent Hill movies that came out because, he had to. He's Silent Hill. He's the atmosphere.
I wouldn't mind rewatching those sometime. I don't think I gave them the right shake when I first saw them.
Yeah. I think one of the interviews that I was reading, one of the interviewers even said they're like, you could put his music over like a yoga commercial and be like, yo, is this a Silent Hill commercial? Like that's how iconic his music is. And it is like so much so that he's doing a new game, The Medium. And so nowadays though, he's still at Grasshopper Manufacture. He's creating music and doing what he does best. And like I said, he was just announced that he was working with Blobber on their new game, The Medium, and working with them on the atmosphere music. He's also going to be working with them on with their own composer that they have to help shape him and also to help make it so that way, the game sounds the best that it can.
There's a legacy there now.
There
is.
I
think the best compliment I can give him is I probably won't play that game now.
Too scary.
Now it's scary.
It's scary. With the
it's funny because
spoopy.
Yeah. And if you look at interviews with Blobber, they're actually basically like, nobody else is making, they're not making Silent Hill games anymore. Like PT got canceled, which was the Guillermo del Toro and the what's his face's name game. And so he was actually really bummed about it. Yeah, Kojima. He was actually bummed about it because he was like, oh, maybe I'll get to write the music for this game. And so But when it got canceled, he was kind of bummed. So,
Right.
But because that got canceled, Blobber was like, oh, we're gonna make the medium, and it's gonna be kind of like a Silent Hill type game because it's very foggy and everything. And so, basically, because if Konami won't make another Silent Hill, be like Thanos and do it yourself. So,
What, you say pull a Thanos?
Yeah, pull a Thanos
I'm
and
gonna
do it
this
yourself.
myself.
Fine, I'll do it
Wow.
myself.
That's the
Puts
most
on,
punk rock thing you could do.
Yeah, put on that Silent Hill glove. But yeah, that's that would be Akira Yamaoka.
Yay! Knowledge.
Yeah.
Cool. And his next game will be the Medium, which is also a very creepy looking game.
Very creepy.
Special thank you goes out to you for scaring me for half of my life.
So yeah, he's pretty awesome though. In researching him, like if you look up his interviews, he actually gives a list of all of the music that he can recommend to you that he loves, and it's a long list.
Right on.
Yeah.
Somehow, Pocket Full of Mums is on this list.
It is.
Interesting.
Did you see that?
Got a pocket full of mums.
I hope that isn't a song. What if it's really a song?
It is an 80s British sounding song. I mean, hey.
I got a pocket full of mums.
But his would be punk. It would be faster.
I got a pocket full of mums.
Moms.
Mums. Pockets.
We've been inside for too long.
But don't tell my mom.
And with that brings us to the end of this week's episode.
Mums.
As always, lately we record live downstairs, or the only stairs, inside the Dragon's Lair.
In our living
That is our
rooms.
houses. Yep.
In our quarantine rooms.
But you can always find us online.
Outside our quarantine rooms, in our on Twitter and on Instagram, we are at Taste of Dragons. Check us out on Twitter. This is where we kind of do our day-to-day as to keep our finger to the pulse of the video game world. And on Instagram, we like to put our funny stuff. Us just goofing. And
that's where our goofs is.
That's where our goofs is. We'll continue to put up more content on there as well. And check us out on tell your friends so they can listen to us on YouTube. If they don't have any other podcast service, you can find us there as well. So find us, and
That's
we'll
right.
find you in happiness. It sounded weird, and I didn't know. I don't want to be creepy. I want to make it positive, So whatever. Just tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend. Phone a friend. Or Zoom a friend at this point. So, whatever it is that you guys are doing, TikTok a friend.
Whatever the kids are doing these days.
That's right. And if you are one of our listeners who are listening to us from Costa Rica, we are on the games chart in Costa Rica and the top video game podcasts. So if you're listening to us in Costa Rica, reach out to us in our Instagram or whatever. And say hi to us.
Costa Rica. I almost said Tosta Rica. I don't know why. I think I'm hungry. Taste the dragons.
I was about to say that sounds like a great dish. Actually, I would eat that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, my name is Brian.
I'm Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
And we are the
Taste of Dragons.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Mom's the word.